Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lyds, and we're back for some more Thronebreaker, and we are still in the early stages here of our time in Mahakam. We were last time taking a look at new squad mates that have joined us, and some of the new cards and upgrades that have become available to us as well. Still have a general sense that we're trying to meet up with the Dwarven leader Brouver, however, don't know much else beyond that. I do see there's some loot here that appears to be obtainable. And we were asking ourselves, how many resources are we going to get here in Mahakam relative to where we were previously in Edirn that was notably quite scarce when it came to particularly gold, but to a certain extent wood as well, because we do have some pretty big upgrades that we could potentially be saving up for at this stage, so it is certainly a good thing to have a sense as to how much time it may take us to reach enough points, enough resources to get all that stuff. Also, I do see that snowman, and it is amazing. I love it. Fantastic. Any hidden chests hanging out over here? Nah, doesn't seem like it. Okay, so let's see what the deal is here. This looks like these may be the two guards, guarding the entrance to what is the, at least initial components, the outskirts of Mahakam. So, I was wondering, what kind of enemies, what kind of encounters are we going to find here where, obviously, Nilfgaard was actively attacking Edirn, so there were going to be Nilfgaardians there, and we ran into a fair share of monsters as well, but we haven't heard much about what is happening here in Mahakam. So, are the dwarves going to be unhappy to see us? Possibly. Perhaps we're about to find out. Can we talk with... No, the dudes are just chilling. Okay, these dudes? Are these dudes just chilling? Also, we're going on... I thought we just turned into a ghost for a second. It's like, why are we see-through all of a sudden? No, that's above us. We are below that archway. Okay.
Not too shabby as views go, eh?
Whoa.
Were it not for the howling wind, I'd make a sketch.
Turns out Gascon is quite the artist. You see, the artiste. Unfortunately, looks like we cannot go over there, but alas, we will press on. Heroes Road. Okay, I mean, it sounds nice and positive, but I suppose we could be fooled. We could be caught off guard here. But here's a notice board, giving us a little bit more insight as to what to expect here. Not that much. Here's the main quest is actually now... I thought it was... Was it this close before, or was it further away? Maybe it was that close. So that is, of course, our primary target in that case. We saw the conscription post we just walked past, so that's not really any big news, but there is a battle over there. So those are the things that immediately catch our attention here, as well as a little bit of resources outside of the recruits. That, notably, is not a very high number for either the wood or the gold there. So I noticed it the first time we picked up that loot, as we were talking about it before, comparing how much we're going to get here in Mahakam versus how much we got previously in Edirn. It's a little concerning. If I'm being honest, I was sort of hoping that those dog days were over and we wouldn't need to be quite as worried about the lack of resources, but it seems as though that may still be the case here. But this is just a little mining outpost, perhaps, and not much else happening here. No one to speak to. No hidden chests? Question mark? So we saw in Edirn, there was one that was very early on that we, I think, initially missed. Okay, there's our fast travel spot. And I think that means we're just heading straight on to the quest here. Because we haven't seen too much outside of that. Is it perhaps this broken wagon over here? Or, oh, this. That doesn't look good. Looks like a troll, and I'm not sure what else.
Slowly, her surroundings interesting to her. Her ears keen to take in the cacophony of sounds. The sharp whistle of wind rushing past towering peaks. The squeak of wagon wheels rolling over frozen snow. And the roar of beasts.
What the... I dare not venture a guess.
Gabor scratched his chin.
An ice troll.
Yep.
One of them Barbie Gaza pajamas.
These beasts, are they tame? As the dragon?
Not in your life. Fierce horsens, every last one of them. Spring cleaning year past, 1 year bit my arm clear off.
It grew back.
The Queen's brow rose in a silent inquiry.
All right. You don't quite ken the context. Each spring, with the melting of the snows, a good bit of that filth comes out the ground. That's when Brouver Hoog summons all dwarves for spring cleaning. We cut down as much of the filth as we can, and that means relative calm the rest of the year.
Out of the corner of her eye, Meve noted a dark shape darting between rock formations. Calmly, she drew her sword and brandished it a time or two to warm up her stiff arms.
Seems it is our lot to assist you with this cleaning. Lyrians, arms at the ready. Prepare to fight.
Alright, so it sounds like our questions have been answered. What types of opponents will we find ourselves facing off against here? Well, a whole bunch of monsters. Spring cleaning. That is oh, that's a Shaelmar card for Gwent multiplayer, which I didn't think is what we were about to see. But for a great many years, Mahakam was closed off to the outside world. When the Elven Kings began their last desperate push to drive men from the lowlands, the dwarves slammed shut the passage to their mountain realm. For centuries, they waited. Only when the slaughter of the valleys below subsided did they once again open their gates. The dwarves refer to this day as the Great Airing Out. Okay, but more specifically for what we're going for here, it is obviously a story battle, but do not let Brouver die. Brouver Hoog, apparently the leader of the dwarves, is going to be here, so that's... I did not realize that was going to be the case. I assumed this was just going to be some random dwarven warriors slash citizens, but no, their leader. Eliminate the Shaelmar. Okay, so it's not just a troll. Now, Shaelmar is quite different, at least in The Witcher proper it is. So, and in multiplayer Gwent as well. Hint in one fell swoop. Okay, do we have some kind of chaining damage abilities that can perhaps allow us to take out a bunch of enemies in one fell swoop? I take that to mean perhaps we can. So, yep, story battle special rules. First and foremost, need to make sure Brouver doesn't die and take out the Shaelmar, more so than just outscoring our opponent, and it's just one round. Okay, let's get started. Alright, so yep, as we were saying, round 3, just one battle here, just one round, I should say. Alright, and before we start selecting our cards, let's take a look, see if we can figure out anything that's going on here. Yeah, that is a Shaelmar, alright. No ability, that's helpful, but it looks really cool. It does look very similar to what they look like in The Witcher 3, but yeah, that's odd that they at least initially described it as a troll, which I don't believe Shaelmars are. Or at least, I mean, maybe they're relatives of trolls, but they're kind of a distinct being. Geralt would disapprove of the classification of it being a troll, I think. Mighty Shaelmar, so it's a boss, it's a relict. Yeah, it's a relict, whereas, technically speaking, trolls are ogroid, so clearly they aren't even close relatives. But or maybe it's just that we don't have a Witcher here to accurately classify the enemies we're facing off against. But anyways, every 3 turns on turn start, randomly damage enemies by a portion of Shaelmar's current armor, then move to the other row. If on the melee row, damage the highest enemy by this unit's current armor. If on the range row, damage the lowest enemy by this unit's current armor, then set armor to 8. I was gonna say, at the moment it's just at 6 armor, which is not all that high. It's not super concerning, so I wasn't really all that worried about it dealing big damage to us. But if it's gonna set its armor to 8 every turn, then that's gonna start to complicate things. So the whole one fell swoop hint thing leads me to think that perhaps not only are we trying to get rid of its armor in one turn, maybe trying to just get rid of it altogether in one turn. Here's Brouver on deploy, which obviously he's already on the board, so we're not getting that. Spawn 2 Mahakam Protectors and move an enemy from the melee to the range row, so that's just not going to help us. Scepter of Storms could certainly help us deal some damage. It looks like they are not going to play any additional cards. It's just the Shaelmar and Shaelmar alone. Oh, and bear in mind, this is not happening every turn. It's every 3 turns, so we do have at least a little bit of time. And for the Arbalest here, Rounds start appear on the battlefield. Loyal damage random enemy by 2. So we use our leader ability for 4 damage. We'll get 4 more from the Arbalest here for a total of 8. That's enough to immediately get rid of the armor. But we would need to, well, deal more damage. Otherwise, it's going to reset its armor up to 8 and start dealing more damage to us. And what's it going to do first? So it's in the melee row, damage the highest enemy unit. So yeah, unless we play something bigger than Brouver, Brouver is going to be the first target for the Shaelmar. So want to deal damage as quickly as possible, and if we can't get rid of it before it uses its first ability, then we want to make sure that we play something bigger than Brouver. So, what do we have? Skull is probably going to be pretty hard. Banish any number of units from your graveyard, then damage all units on a row by the amount banished. Could be great if this were a 3-round match, but it's not, and so we don't have anything in our graveyard, meaning Skull, unless the Shaelmar does destroy something, is going to do nothing, and of course if the Shaelmar starts destroying things, then we probably have bigger problems on our hands. So I think we're probably getting rid of the Skull. I do really like Alzur's Thunder just for the high direct damage. 10 points of damage. We're just saying we have 8 when we use our leader ability along with the Gesso Arbalists. So that's what, 18 total, and has 26 damage we need to deal to it once you consider the 20 power plus 6 armor. So that means we need 8 more damage coming from elsewhere. And the Slingers can help a bit. The Alchemist doesn't really matter all that much because he has restraint, so he's not going to be able to do anything to the Shaelmar and not going to be able to do anything to Brouver either. So I'm thinking we definitely want to get rid of you. Slinger is more damage. It's 2 damage per turn, which is a little hard to get excited about. Although moving the Shaelmar into the melee row, where... Oh wait, did I say it was going to damage Brouver initially? No, it's in the range row, damage the lowest enemy unit. It's going to hit one of these Arbalists. I mean, that's preferable. In that case, we'd either want to move it, either not move it at all, or move it twice so that it is in this range row when it uses its ability, so it's taking out one of these guys rather than taking out Brouver, because obviously we want Brouver to stay. So, maybe the Shaelmars, or rather, maybe the Slingers, as long as we have 2 of them, are fine. Cavalry, I mean, it is damage, yes, but I'm just not sure that that's fast enough damage. Xavier. Hold on. I also don't remember exactly what Gabor does. We play him and get Gabor left hook damage unit by 10 if it was destroyed, deal any remaining damage. And that remaining damage part doesn't matter, but 10 damage. Add that to... Whoop, oh, hold on. Don't do that. Add the 10 damage from that to the 10 damage from Alzur's Thunder, and the 8 damage from leader ability plus the Arbalest, and I think that's already enough. So that's encouraging. Let's get rid of the Skull just in case, because as we were saying, that probably isn't going to work for us. Still not a huge fan of the Cavalry, so let's dump you. Alchemist is pretty useless as well. Gascon, I mean, we don't really care about putting up points. We definitely still prioritize damage. Isbel could theoretically help us to get Brouver boosted back up if he does get damaged. Of course, if he does start to get damaged, then we probably are already in a lot of trouble, but then, I mean, maybe we get rid of one of these Cavalry and go for something, yeah, like...
Stop standing around like corns on a toe! Get to work!
Alright. Like the Strays Bomber to set this row on fire to give us a little more damage, but I think we're still talking about going for... I mean, Gabor, Alzur's Thunder, leader ability, I think is sufficient. I think is sufficient, right? 26. So then it did start on their turn, so they did automatically get that first turn triggered. So now just 2 turns remaining, and I think that's still all we need. So, I mean, 10 damage, plus 10 damage, 20, plus 2 more, 22, 2 more, 24, 4 more, 28, a little bit more from Scepter of Storms as well, and we should have this. So, is there a rule in terms of do we need to play him in a specific row to do one of these things? Or is it fine, regardless of which row we play him in? Spawn play Gabor. Doesn't seem as though melee row dictates one and range row dictates the other. It's just play him and do whatever one you want. So, okay, in that case, let's play him.
Hammer done in a jiffy.
And damage by 10. Could also get Knickers out here. And we should use our leader ability as well. Get a little more damage from these Arbalists. I mean, we can use Scepter of Swords if we'd like. And our turn, it does not yet have time to use its ability, so we just go Alistair's Thunder. And should be as simple as that.
All right. You got some splaining to do.
Quite simple. If you have as much damage as we have.
As the wails of speared Shaelmars died down, the crowd of Mahakaman infantry parted. A dwarf stepped forth, grey as a snowfox, wrinkled as a prune. He walked with difficulty, supporting himself on a battle axe, its two heads dripping blood.
This would be our elder-in-chief, Brouver Hoog.
Good to meet you.
And who might your guests be, Gabor? Meve, Queen of Lyria and Rivia, and her associates in court.
My regards, Elder. I come...
Yeah. Remember, he's not the friendliest of folk. At least based on what we've heard. Not the quickest to trust.
You come for something. Coin's my first wager. Fighting bodies my second. Well, what is it you want? I'm on in the years, aye, but I'm not gone dotty. Tja, you menfolk. You got to fall on hard times to remember us dwarves.
I mean, he's not wrong, is the thing. The thing is, he does kind of have a point. It's not like we're just here to say hello and be on our way.
I've come with a design in mind, I cannot deny. But hear me out and you shall see.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna like that.
She's armed! Gabor! Why the devil did you let her in here like that? And without a sack or her heat!
Yeah, you know, we are armed and we do have a... Army is maybe a strong word to describe it, but a group of soldiers along with us, but maybe we leave that part out for now.
She has the leaden ring, Elder.
True. True.
A gift from a king.
From Demavend, lassie, I ken that already. Trust a man, give him something of value, and he'll go and give it away as easy as a street whore gives away nubs. It's a good thing he didn't pawn it. Sons of humans.
Yeah, it looks like even that's not gonna get us very far with him. I'm not accustomed to interruptions. Ooh. That would be the sort of, I was about to say passive aggressive, but no, arguably just outright aggressive approach. Condescending perhaps more than anything. The sort of all high and mighty, excuse me, I am queen of both Lyria and Rivia. Nobody interrupts me. Thank you very much. But the thing is, he's also the leader of the dwarves, so he's also the dwarven nobility, so I just don't think that's really gonna go over very well with him, so... I mean, I beg you is also maybe not the best way to phrase things, because he does seem like he's not exactly about to hand out a bunch of favors, and for us to go groveling to him is maybe not going to give the right impression, but I think this may still be better than being all standoffish.
I've traveled far to see you. Hear me out, I beg you.
Let it be my loss. Go on, haver away.
Nilfgaard has overrun my realms. It has overrun Edirn. The Blackclads are at the foot of Mahakam. They will seek to overrun your land sooner or later as well. We must act. We must react together, while there is still time.
I mean, do we know if the Nilfgaardians actually have any intention of attacking the dwarves? We were talking previously about how apparently the Nilfgaardians have a bit more of a positive relationship with the Scoia'tael, specifically the elves, although, again, as we also discussed previously, in some aspects, dwarves can very well get lumped into the Scoia'tael, although that perhaps is not the best phrase, the best term to describe the sort of main contingent of dwarves here in Mahakam.
Time? What do you ken of time, lass? Got how many summers to you? 40, maybe? Had you grown up amongst dwarven folk, at your age you'd be learning to crochet dolls. No more than that.
And we were also asking previously about, what is the dwarf lifespan, average dwarven lifespan compared to that of a human, because there was some reference that I think Gabor had made that apparently Brouver seemed to suggest was there something like 100, 200 years ago to experience some historical event that wasn't entirely sure if that was accurate, because it seemed kind of odd that he was alive and I think perhaps even still leader in that early date of the dwarves, and perhaps it was just someone else, and so there's some other more indirect tie to Brouver, but no, it does seem as though, truthfully, the dwarves are just much longer lived than the humans.
I've seen 400 summers come and go.
Here's our answer.
And I've been elder for 200.
There's our other
I've
answer.
learned in that time that meddling in your idiot scraps doesn't ever bring any good. Now, on a normal day, I'd have you all thrown clear out of this land I love. But you've the leaden ring, and that grants you the right of hospitality. And here, in Mahakam, laws and rights are sacred.
Alright, maybe it is gonna get us at least somewhere.
You may stay in the pass long as you wish. Young Zigrin will serve as your guide. And once you've tired of the mountains, well, you ken the way down into the valleys. I bid you farewell.
Alright, I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea what Ken means. It's, I assume, some kind of slang, but feels like they're using it in so many different contexts that it is, I cannot place it anymore. So, nor do I think it necessarily just sounds, maybe, it just sounds like some other word and it's spelled differently to reflect the way that it's being pronounced in this case, but, I mean, I don't think it's can, it's not C-A-N, so I don't know. But anyways, that's an aside.
My Lord Elder, with all due respect, we came to your aid. We smote the beasts with you, yet...
And it was actually an extremely easy encounter, but, you know, maybe we don't mention that part. It was extremely difficult. You totally owe us big time.
And who the demons is this son?
Count Reynard Odo.
Ho ho, Odo, Lodo, Bodo! Now, you listen and listen well. We didn't ask for aid, and you know why? 'Cause I've my dignity. Not like some.
Alright, we get it.
Mates and wenches! Spring cleaning's done, beast culling's over. Mount Carbon beckons us home. Follow me!
Okay. Yeah. Definitely not the friendliest. Not the friendliest of individuals that we've ever encountered. And thus, everyone remained silent until he was well out of earshot.
Your Grace, be not dismayed. We will find a way.
Ooh. That's awfully dark. No, surely we'll find a way, right? I mean, sure, he's, again, not the most hospitable of people, but then again, he's at least said he's gonna give us a chance, so, I mean, why would give up now?
Manage we shall, true. Though damned if I know how. We have none other to whom we can turn, no other land where we can flee.
Let us convene in council, Your Grace. Consider together what's to be done. We've yet Redania, Temeria.
There are other northern realms, like Redania, like Temeria, that is true.
Your Grace, might I draw you aside a wee moment for a jabber?
I suppose.
Reynard, please excuse me. Well, what is it you want?
Yeah, why did we need to have this conversation outside of Reynard's earshot?
I ken the Elder-in-Chief didn't make a good first impression.
What does Ken mean? I don't know. I'm just gonna ignore it and hope that I can still make sense out of what there's. I mean, obviously we can make sense out of this, but
And the second? Is it any better?
yeah, is he gonna warm up over time? Hopefully, relatively quickly after he was a little disgruntled during that initial encounter.
To be quite frank, no. I'll try elsewise. Not all's lost, trust me. Brouver's a stubborn goat, no doubt about it, but a goat to be persuaded. And I happen to ken how.
No? K-N-O-W? At least in that case. That's what that means. Next! For our next class in Learning Dwarvish with Lids. What have we learned in the past? Usually the more goldish, yellowish text is sort of the main conversation, whereas the white text is more the side conversation, the more optional stuff. So why don't we start with this then? And then presumably this will still be available afterward.
The selfless impulse to help. I don't believe it exists. So before you describe how you aim to aid me, be kind enough to explain why you wish to do so. Unsolicited, mind you, and clearly against your elder's wishes.
Now Meve is going out and pulling a Brouver on this occasion. Sounds like it's a page right out from his book.
A query of my own to answer yours. Do you ken when Brouver Hoog last strode down the mountains into your lowlands?
I know not. While King Sambuk sat on the throne?
Point of fact, never. Hoog was born here and he'll die here, like most Mahakaman dwarves.
Okay, your point is that... what exactly?
Whereas I'm a frequent visitor in your human lands. Been an emissary to royal courts, trade guilds, mummers, troops, and I've eyes. I can see all the rubbish goes on between yous.
Okay. So you have a better understanding of what's going on amongst all the humans, whereas Brouver does not? Is that what you're getting at?
Nilfgaard's insatiable. The Black Clads will not stop till they've put the whole continent neath their boot. From Ophir in the south to the Dragon Mountains in the north.
Okay. It sounds like you understand the threat, at the very least. Probably more so than Brouver does.
Gods forbid they grip all the Nordlings' realms in their vice. Because then we'll have their hordes all round, controlling all the trade routes, supply lines, diversions even. And then they'll control terms and prices. Ooh. We dwarves have never been on a lead, let alone a short one.
Okay, so maybe we approach it from the whole, hey, if the Nilfgaardians take over the entire continent, you're gonna have much less control over everything in Mahakam, including your economy, which might be something that'll get Brouver's attention.
So, in short, we'll all be better off with the Black Clads back across the Yaruga. And I've seen your grace. Seen you in battle. You've brawn and bite, and with the right support, you can drive them back. I ken that well.
I mean, I hope you're right. Alright, so now for the main question. What exactly is your suggestion here?
Very well, I'm all ears. What must we do to spur Brouver Hoog to aid us?
I might start with the thorn in our side that are beasts. A bigger thorn than most expect.
Okay, so fighting more monsters like we just did?
See, in our never-ending search for gold, we dug deep. Too deep. And reached abysses where monsters are born, or however they come to be.
So what you're saying is that there's a Balrog that we need to fight.
Soon as it turns a bit warmer, they crawl out to feed. And there's more every year. What you saw there, the spring cleaning, that's just light yearly upkeep. It didn't go at the source of the blight.
So we need to go down into the mines of Moria and send the Balrog back to the fire from whence it came? Why, you fools?
Every spring we cull enough so we can live and trade and mine normal-like. But there are corridors in the upper valleys midst the peaks, where more lie waiting to pounce. So many, there's settlements that have done been abandoned.
Okay, so yes, you do very much have quite a monster problem, and perhaps more of a monster problem than Brouver would be willing to admit to, as he was just trying to suggest that spring cleaning was over. Also, for what it's worth, I think we might have noticed this before, but this really sounds like that in particular, that little component of this song sounds a lot like the Blood and Wine soundtrack, which is fantastic, and getting the flashbacks from Witcher 3, oh man. Oh, man.
I still fail to see how this relates to myself and Brouver.
Your Majesty, slay the beasts down to their last, and you'll win the hearts of the clans.
Okay.
All of them. And with the clans behind you, why? The Elder will have no choice. He'll bend an ear, treat you serious.
Okay. That makes sense, and that is certainly something that we have a bit of experience with.
You got two sites through which beasts swarm in great numbers. There's Davor's Abyss and an abandoned underground settlement called Burr's Rump. Destroy those, collapse the corridors, problem solved.
What names? Amazing. Alright. 2 would be enough. That is a little surprising. Supposedly those are, I would assume, the 2 most significant places that have been completely overrun by those monsters. I'm sure there are others that have smaller infestations, but why hasn't Brouver tried to sort all this out?
You colour the solution as simple and known. Why has Brouver Hoog not gone at the matter?
Exactly.
You must learn one thing about us dwarves of Mahakam. Customs, traditions, why, we're obsessed. Goes thrice for Brouver.
Okay.
The Elder deliberates weeks on end. And that's in considering if we shouldn't wear suspenders, because they might be through outside, and should thus be forbidden.
Okay, so he's not the quickest to make a decision about anything.
We've a set of laws, the Four Dwarves Codex. One of its tenets says, dare ye not close a corridor once oped. So, no self-respecting dwarf can nor will do it. But you...
Okay, so this at least seems to go along with, or at least gives us explanation as to why the dwarves dug too deep and unleashed the Balrog.
You're free out with. The laws dinna apply. You've a free hand in sealing the corridors from which the beasts come. Collapse them, flood them, I dinna ken, but solve the grief once and for all.
Okay, I think I can say pretty confidently now that can does in fact mean no, more often than not. Okay. So, yeah, again, the question of is 2 sufficient? It doesn't sound like all that much, but, I mean, then again, maybe these are 2 really, really overrun, really bad instances of monsters.
And this, 'twould suffice.
I believe it would. But find you other ways to win the heart of a clan or Brouver himself. Do so. Can't bring no harm.
I mean, maybe that's possible above and beyond the 2 primary things. There may be other ways, either alternatives altogether or just things to do in addition to those 2 main quest components. So we'll have to keep an eye out for all that.
All this sounds rather toilsome, yet I do favour this to losing another moon seeking out a court where we would at first be welcomed, only later to hear another rebuke.
Yeah, I mean, if doing this can set us up for an immediate advantage when negotiating with Brouver, it sounds like that is the kind of advantage we're going to need, because otherwise we are just going to get immediately dismissed. He's giving us a chance, but that's largely just a courtesy because we have the trinket that Demavend gave us, but not sure how much further Brouver's going to take that if we don't give him additional reason to trust us.
You've my gratitude, Gabor. You've shown me a way. Very well. Let us think on these beasts. See what's to be done.
Alright, so there we have it. At least the first real encounter, the real battle in Mahakam, and I was curious to see how the difficulty would stack up between Mahakam and Aedirn, because we saw, at least when we transitioned from Lyria into Aedirn, there was a pretty noticeable uptick in the difficulty of the encounters. Now, of course, that was just our very first one, and generally speaking, the main quests are actually considerably easier than the side objectives, so not sure how much we can read into this just yet, but of course that initial one was not bad at all. We do have some additional stuff popping up here, though. Let's see. From our royal tent, we have a new report, it seems. The guest rulebook. Dear guest, to make your stay in Mahakam a merry one that doesn't end with you rolling down a cliff in a barrel. Oh, yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen to us. Do us all a favor and stick to these rules written by me, Elder-in-Chief Brouver Hoog. 1. Don't go sticking your nose in others' affairs. 2. You fondle it, you buy it. 3. Don't question our laws. 4. Get out as quick as you can. 5. Don't bother me. And that's perhaps the most significant one to us, is that we do kind of need to bother him, at least asking him a favor or two, trying to find some way to get some support to face off against the Nilfgaardians, because, I mean, we've been fleeing at this stage. Obviously, we left Lyria, and we went through Eddern, but it's not like we got much support from Devind, as he and the entirety of Eddern was basically, they were overrun by the Nilfgaardians already, so they didn't have much in the way of troops or resources to spare outside of, I mean, we did get to add Isbel and, of course, Rayla to our team, but not much beyond that. And as powerful as allies as they may be, it's not as if those two people are going to suddenly turn the tide of this entire war against the Nilfgaardians. Okay. So other than that, we take a quick look at our map here, and we know there's the battle up there, but do we even see where the next main quest is? There's one over here. Maybe we're only gonna see one at a time, but I assume that's one, or I guess maybe even both, a 2-for-1 in terms of battles with monsters that might help us win the favor of Brouver if we were to successfully complete those. But other than that, I think this is probably a good place for us to wrap up here. So we got our first look at what kinds of encounters we should expect here in Mahakam, and of course we very quickly met Brouver, which I was not expecting to see. I was thinking that, looking back at our map here, he was going to be, whoop, as he immediately closes it, I thought he was going to be, way up near the top, like over here in this dramatic hallway, and we'd have this long build-up, perhaps trying to fight our way through a mixture of monsters and dwarves that didn't trust us until we finally made it over there and had to explain ourselves to Brouver. But no, he's there right off the bat, and, well, as we were hearing from Gabor, not exactly the most welcoming of receptions from him. But hey, he did give us a chance, and that's really all we can ask for. So, with that being said, I'll catch you next time.